So why was Baruch Spinoza excommunicated? There's a play in New York now called New Jerusalem, the interrogation of Baruch de Spinoza at the Talmud Torah Congregation, Amsterdam, July 1656. So who is Spinoza and why is he so important? Modern Jewish philosophy shared with Hellenistic and medieval Jewish philosophy a certain concern for relating general philosophy to Judaism. But one of the main people to do that was this guy named Baruch Spinoza, one of the greatest philosophers of entire Western philosophy. He was born in Amsterdam in 1632. Now, why is he so infamous or famous? In 1656, Spinoza began to attract considerable attention for his unorthodox opinions, in which he questioned Moses' authorship of the Torah, whether Adam was the first man, whether Mosaic law superseded natural law. For these views and others, Spinoza was excommunicated and the Jewish community was forbidden to be in contact with him. He then left Amsterdam, and the noted historian Arthur Hertzberg described him as the first modern Jew, since he was the first to leave the Jewish community without becoming a Christian. Now, what about his philosophy and more clearly, and what was it that so irked the Jewish establishment at that time? He insisted that religious tenets should be judged only on the basis of reason. He rejected Moses as the author of the Torah and the possibility of genuine prophecy. He said anything that looks supernaturalistic is actually not. There have to be rational explanations for it. The Bible should be examined as a human document expressing human developments of the past. None of that is anything that wouldn't be taught at the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College now or secular humanistic Judaism. He did not believe that the world and God could be separate. He was a pantheist, that God and the universe are one. Everything follows their structure. God does not act independently of the world, for God is the world. For Spinoza, God was not a purposeful being. There are no goals being achieved. God just is, and due to his being, everything happens of necessity. He said that man's ultimate aim is the intellectual love of God and can give man the continuous and unending happiness that was sought. For Spinoza, Jews were unenlightened, and so the conveying of moral teachings by stories, the supposed prophecy, and the promise that can have an important social effect of making people behave better and be better. But he said wise people need only reason to come to this. Spinoza's completely rationalistic vision incorporated some basic themes: the existence and unity of God, the dependence of all things on God, and the love of God as the basis of morality. He was really the first one to provide a basis for rejecting any form of Judaism or Christianity. He denied the possibility of any supreme events or revelatory knowledge because he simply didn't believe God could do that. He asserted that the history of the Bible should consist of three aspects: analysis of the Hebrew language, and the compilation and classification of the biblical books, and research as to their biblical writings. So nothing can contradict natural law. Biblical miracle stories should always be explained in a natural way. Spinoza alone seems to have taken the drastic step of replacing religious tradition completely by rational scientific reasoning. Interesting that Prime Minister Ben-Gurion in the 50s suggested that the writ of excommunication for Spinoza be withdrawn, but the Amsterdam rabbis did not act on that opinion. So interesting that Spinoza has been called the most impious atheist that ever lived, and also a God-intoxicated man, seemingly contradictory things. His revolutionary steps replaced religious tradition by rational scientific study. I definitely don't accept much of what Spinoza said personally, although I think he made a huge contribution in creating an understanding that the Bible had to be investigated scientifically and challenging the completely incorrect view of the total Mosaic authorship of the Torah. But he, in my opinion, went way too far, and because I'm a religious person and I think God isn't all the universe. I'm not a pantheist. Definitely think God has a will. But in any case, I think it's important to understand Spinoza, to understand that critical moment in Jewish history when he was excommunicated and the issues that it raises.